Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Green Monk Symbolic Analysis. Sadly, as I'm recording this, Russia has just made war with Ukraine, so just before you continue this video, I suppose you can have a wee prayer for Ukraine. But life continues on. So, episode 3. Last time we left off, Alexei was shown. Sorry, I need to change this. Alexei was shown the origins of this monastic order, and he went to bed on that. And this is where we left off to. So he had a dream. Okay, so let us begin. So he goes to sleep, and behold, he can fly now. Isn't that crazy? He's got a big sword in his hand. He's in the heavens, with less clothing as well. So he's flying in the air, and he sees these dragons flying as well, and he bravely goes forth. He confronts the dragons. He hacks and slashes with his sword, and he's triumphant. The dragon is all cut up. He's victorious. But behold, a giant climbing up from underground. What could this mean? This giant's massive. He's got a massive sword to go along with it. Alexei, the old monk calls out, "You are a holy man." Alexei briefly looks at the monk before turning back to the giant. The giant lunges his sword forth, and Alexei, in his moment of doubt, he lets go of his sword, and he gets impaled. And as he gets impaled, he falls down this great cavern. Oh Lord, my God, save me. He gets visions of this feminine woman. Was this the person from the beginning? Who knows? I'm here. I've always been here. Alexei. And he wakes up. You're usually the first one up. Hurry and grab some tills. So he goes off to work, jumping down trees, uprooting stumps. And he looks across as he's moving a big stone. There's a half uprooted stump with abandoned tills. What's that about? And in the opening of the trees, he sees an old man sitting down. "I'm tired," he says. So Alexei lays him down to rest. And he goes back to that stump, picks up the large pole, and finishes what the old man started. Creak, creak. He uproots the stump, and in doing so, we now cut forth to the future. He's now a man. So that's all we'll tackle for this wee section. Okay, so what could this possibly mean? This is a bit weird. Why is he flying? Why is he half naked? Why has he got a big sword? Why is he in the clouds? Who knows? Well, let us think about these things. So if you imagine, these are all similar things. You could probably take a few guesses why. But why would having a sword and flying and having less clothes on, why would they be possibly linked? Well, let me tell you. Okay, let's go to, is this the right one? Yeah, not that one yet. We'll go for this one. So imagine this is an icon of Moses. He's ascending the mountain where the burning bush is. This has been depicted as the Virgin Mary with Christ. Don't worry about that for now. This is the burning bush, okay? And when he gets up there, God shouts forth, he says, "Stop, the land, the ground you're walking on is holy ground, take off your sandals." Okay, and if you've read the life of Moses, St. Gregory of Nyssa talks about how sandaled feet cannot ascend the holy mountain. There's a point where you need to take off these coverings, okay? These coverings of animal skins. So imagine in the Garden of Eden, okay, what did Adam and Eve have to put on to survive in the outer world? Let's search up Adam and Eve. They had to kill an animal. All right, here, bam. They had to put on these coverings of death to survive the death, but in doing so, they're also encumbered by them. It's a double-edged sword. You're protected by it, but you're also, you're not as free. Now, it's like if you take off these coverings, you're now free. You can now ascend the holy mountain, so to speak. So that's why he's also in the clouds. Why he's not held down, right? And if you imagine the sword, that's like the logos. Okay, I've got a few notes here, like the holding fast to the sword / the logos / that which has the ability to change reality, to bring forth new realities into being, or to embody Christ, I suppose. Like what does Christ do? He fulfills the hierarchy. Put it back. He fulfills the hierarchy. He transcends it. He's in all aspects of it. There's like freedom of movement between the mountain, I suppose. That's what Jesus Christ is, and Alexei's not encumbered by that. Okay, and on to here. He's confronting a dragon. Now, I said that holding fast to the sword is something like you're holding on to the ability that can bring new realities into being or change reality. And you can also think like the logos or the sword. It's like the spoken word. It's the tongue. Okay, we can just speak magic words, so to speak. We can change reality. How? What are you talking about, Josh? Well, I've made an example in a podcast prior. You could have a nice. Well, I'll do more recent days. You're having an evening. You're watching TV. You're watching some sports. You're having a good old time, right? You're eating some food. Life is good. But all of a sudden, your Russia is invading Ukraine, right? Your worldview has shattered, or someone told you. By the way, this thing's happening in Russia. Okay, your whole worldview of perspective of what's happening in the world changes, and it can't change back, and that's happened through the spoken word, through the knowledge of what's happening. And that's completely, realistically speaking, materially, nothing has really changed. But that spoken word, bam, this is happening. It completely throws in havoc of what the future could hold. Who knows? It's in disarray. But let us go back to here. Now, what is this? This is St. George slaying the dragon. Now, why is this so important? What is a dragon? Well, a dragon is a beast that has strange, mismatched accumulations of different identities. Is it a snake? Is it an eagle? Is it a lion? Who knows? It's all three, right? Is it the thing that sets you on fire and devours you and destroys your village? Yes. Is it the thing that steals all your gold and steals all your women and puts them in towers? Yes. That's what a dragon is. It's all those things. But it's also like chaos. because it's not defined. The fact that things that you can't define are dangerous, because they could be dragons, they could harm you, but they could be the treasure that the garden that the dragon protects. Okay, so that's what a dragon is. And what is this guy doing? He's pinning the dragon to the ground with a lance. Now, what's that about? Okay, I'm gonna go back to this symbol, yin and yang. It's a similar image. Okay. Oh dear. Okay, imagine the order is fixing the chaos. He's like this strangeness of many identities, and he's threatening the stability of your world because it's so fluid. What is it? What is it? It's changing. Well, let's fix it. It can't move anymore. Okay, we've defined it. This is what the problem is. This is what it is. Okay, it's one thing now, and it's not moving. It's dead. Okay, so that's what Alex is doing. So he's went forth. This is the story of adolescence, right? He's went forth to slay the dragon. Okay, and he does that. Happy days. Okay, he's been true to his sword. He's slayed the dragon. But what's this about? It's a giant. Now, what is a giant? What's that about? Now, a giant is it's massive. It's powerful. It's got a lot of body. Okay, it's very earthly. It's coming from the earth as well. Right? It's very earthly. It's very powerful, very strong, but it's also quite slow. Giants aren't really seen as nimble figures. We're also seen as like the lacking vision. Imagine the Cyclops is a giant. Okay, maybe you'll see it in the future in this book. Who knows? Spoilers. But imagine like a Cyclops. It's got one eye. It's got this one way looking at the world that doesn't change. Okay, narrow-mindedness. Okay, it's got this blindness to the reality. Okay, this giant has no pupils. Maybe you could possibly see that as reflecting it as well. But the symbolism comes in later in the book. But it's like a giant is very powerful, but it lacks vision. That's tradition. That's what tradition is. Tradition is you were born in this place, this country, this society, and it's built all these things. It's built all these structures to uphold whatever it has. It's not perfect, but at least we've got here. It works. Okay, and that's the argument for, not changing anything. Well, it's worked till now. It might well work till the next day, but that's the lack of vision. What if it doesn't work the next day? Okay, so that's what tradition is. I'm gonna read like a few quotes from the CEO of Ford, of all people. Okay, in relation to Tesla and converting their cars to electricity. Okay. The company could hit Tesla-like profit margins by using common electric motors, electric components, and other parts across all sizes of vehicles. But to do that, Ford needs radically different human talent than it now has. Also, the company has too many people and too much complexity, and it doesn't have the expertise to transition to battery electric vehicles. Ford can't just pivot from internal combustion engines to battery powered vehicles. And then another quote: I can't turn to the internal combustion engine organization and say, go be Tesla. And that's a good example. It's a giant. Ford's massive. Okay, there's only Ford obviously it goes way back. Okay, Henry Ford is a massive company, massive legacy, but it's slow. And Tesla, this new company, right, it can work faster in different areas because it's not encumbered by this dead weight, I suppose. That's what a giant is. Now, he wasn't able to answer the giant correctly, I suppose. He got nervous, I suppose. He dropped the sword. You know, he got impaled by the giant. And that's not so good. So you imagine it's like he goes forth and he can confront the trouble of the world, but he can't bring that into his tradition. It's like, again, there's a story of adolescence here. Okay, it's like what do you? I'm gonna read some notes here. What do adolescents do? They go out, but if they like, they're usually, if they're not developed, they're like, screw tradition, screw society. Okay, I'm gonna do something different. But the whole point is you're meant to give new eyes to your tradition. And what happens here? It says, you are a holy man. And at that point, he drops his sword. He gets distracted, right? You notice here, the covering of animal skins are back. And he falls. It's the exact opposite picture as this. It's like he's unbound. He's free. As long as he's holding the sword. And he's free from these coverings. But now it's the exact opposite. He's let go of the sword where he had it before. He's put on all these coverings where he didn't have them before. And he's fallen into a cavern where previously gravity had no hold on him. Hello, so I'm going to cut in here. So he's let go of the sword, he's been distracted, and he's lost it all, right? He's now obsessed with the particularities, and now he's overcome with what happens. You know, he's dead. He takes on these coverings of animal skins, and he doesn't answer the giant correctly. He dies. Okay. So if you think about it as the sword or the logos, as the ability to pay attention. Okay, Jordan Peterson talks about this as well, but it's like this ability to pay attention, and that's also sort of acting in accordance to Christ. Okay. Now, that's not a complete negation of. It's actually complementary to giants. So if you imagine here. Okay, standing in the shoulders of giants, that old phrase, okay, what does it say? Which means using the understanding gained by major thinkers who have gone before in order to make an intellectual progress. You know, you get the whole point. You see further when you on the shoulders of giants. And if the logos is the capacity to pay attention, or the sight to see far, see into the future, okay, well, maybe you should make use of that old blind tradition you've got, you know, because yeah, they're blinds, but you know, you can climb their shoulders and you can see further. So that's another argument for tradition, but it's an argument for tradition that incorporates new life and new sight. And that is what we are actually should be aiming towards. Tradition, okay, renewed to see the future, new eyes, okay. Let's go back. So now Alexei is the one who actually gets pinned. His life has left him, okay. For all intents and purposes, he's dead. He goes down into death, down into darkness, into the cavern, the cave. Okay, and in his final moments, he prays. That's what he does. "O Lord, my God, save me." He remembers where he came from. He remembers. So previously, when he dropped the sword, he got distracted, but now he remembers. It's like this symbol again. Bam, right? From last episode, he remembers. He's on the turning point back. Okay. And who's this figure? It's this mysterious figure from the beginning. This feminine figure. And now, like, we realise, we get more evidence that these people, this person is a foreigner, like a pagan. We see the people behind them. They're like these Viking pagans, which will come up in the future. But why is this foreigner, who seems to possibly be his mother, right? This foreign woman, why is this the person that saves Alexei, or reaches out and grabs him, holds him in her hands? It's like Jesus Christ's ancestors, like right from the get-go, was a Moabite woman, a foreigner, right? Who started the line, David's line. You need to think about these things, but that's what structure this is playing anyway. And then he wakes up, right? Seems a bit grumpy to me, going off to work, but then he spots this tree. This man, clearly not really fit to complete his work, his duties, and he lays him down to rest. And for all intents and purposes, this man's, he's dead. He dies now. This is his picture of death. There's no funeral for him, but like, it doesn't matter where he's technically alive or not. Symbolic speaking, this is when he dies. And what does he do? He accepts the responsibility of his tradition, and with new strength, he furthers the efforts of his fathers, I suppose. Right, I've got, and then in doing so, he becomes a man. It's like he answered this problem. So yeah, he's an adolescent. He went out, confronted chaos, and was sort of successful. But he needs to bring that back home. He needs to reform his tradition. He doesn't need. He should keep hold of his sword and put away pride. Okay, and renew his tradition. Okay, and like, isn't it obvious? We uproot the tree stumps. Our fathers couldn't. That is how you slay the dragon. You sharpen the family sword. You don't throw it away. That's what this story is. But I think that should conclude us here. Thank you for watching. This should be part 3, I think, Symbolic analysis for Green Monk. Have a look at the other ones if you haven't already. But thank you for watching.